Welcome to the Weird Girls Club.
We're back for another episode of the Weird Girls Club podcast. Spooktober. I sound like a witch too. But yeah, another like spooky inspired podcast
For the 1st of October.
Yeah. And this week we're doing Unsolved Mysteries. I'm cringing. It's like one of them leading cringy Disney Channel.
Oh yeah, it's like real.
Movies.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. But yeah, so this week we are doing some unsolved mysteries and we're just going to talk about them. Some of them you may know, some you may not know. But if this kind of stuff annoys you, that you don't know the answer to it, we apologise in advance, and it's not for you.
And we actually had to refill up on coffee.
Oh yeah, because we're being, would you say workaholics?
Yeah. Organised workaholics right now.
Yeah, so second large coffee of the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna be shitting my guts out later. Literally. Hope I have enough toilet roll.
We won't sleep, but
no sleep. What's that song? It's like no sleep till.
I have no idea.
Aaron, do you know that song? It's like no sleep till. My hand burned off the candle. I forgot.
Maybe in.
No, it's like, no, and then it's like a place like no sleep till. Oh my god, know. It's like in loads of films, like, but the song's like no sleep. If someone knows, a comment down below and let us know.
Yeah,
because literally that's going to drive me mad.
I feel like I kind of know, but I don't think like the song I'm thinking of isn't that like, I don't know. Anyways, Unsolved Mystery. That song never existed.
Ooh. What do they call that when it's like it looks like something like and then it's not?
The Mandela effect.
Yeah.
When you think something and then it's not something like.
No, once they just update that fucking logo.
Awesome. But yeah, we have a list of stuff that like we're gonna read through and all the unsolved mysteries, so we'll jump into them. But I think one of the most famous ones that we haven't like got on the list, but we obviously had to talk about it, is the disappearance of Madeleine Mccann.
Yeah.
I wonder, is it as famous actually over here?
I think it's world. Actually, I think I mentioned it before, and they were like, "Who's that?"
Like, I feel like in Europe, and especially
huge,
like
yeah.
England, Ireland, and Spain.
England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, inside, outside, inside, outside.
Yeah, it's like huge. Like everyone knows. Like you could say the name like Maddie, and I think the first thing you think of is Madeleine Mccann. Yeah. Like, and even if I hear that name in a film, it's just I actually always picture her. But if you don't know what it is, it's a girl that was, what was she? Was she 4? Because she had twin siblings brothers who were like 2. So I think she was like 3 or 4. So do you want me to tell her or do you want to tell her?
No, you tell her. I'm trying to untangle my chains here.
My
shackles.
Yeah, so basically she was in Spain with our family. They were on holiday and they were with like some friends and their kids and whatever. And all the parents went out one night to, it was a bar like on the resort or something, or in the hotel complex, wasn't it? It was very close. But they had left the kids asleep in each of their rooms. And then they were coming up and checking, supposedly. All this is obviously like allegedly, we weren't there. We don't know what happened. Everything's kind of been told from the parents or whatever. So they were like obviously checking up on them regularly. And at one point, I think, was it a ma or one of the friends had went up and basically Madeleine was gone. Mm-hmm. So she was gone. They had to ring the police, whatever. But the twins were still there. Our siblings were still there. They were still asleep. But she was gone, and basically to this day has never been found. There's been loads of different like sightings apparently of seeing her. And like, what year was this actually? 2006.
I want to say
no,
like
I'll actually check it.
I was gonna say like 2008, but like I think it was 2006, or it was I could be completely wrong.
I'm googling it now. Why is this phone on loud?
Want to hear the buttons?
So she like disappeared in, was it Portugal?
Yeah, Portugal.
Specifically, yeah. She disappeared on the evening of May 3rd, 2017, and like a week to 2 weeks later, I flew to Salou, and I remember this. Like I obviously would have been older than Madeleine, but I was 9. I was just gone 9, and I remember actually seeing like missing signs in like windows of restaurants and shops and stuff of her.
Oh my god.
And I remember me mom was always like stay close and whatever. So yeah, that was like a huge thing. And like there's still like an investigation going. There's been loads of different leads, and I remember even it came back up last year with the whole Pizzagate thing that we talked about in a conspiracy episode.
Yeah, I was about to say that about Pizzagate. Yeah.
That wasn't there like a rich couple that lived nearby, and they actually like had her parents over. There's like loads of different stories of whether our family were in on it, or whether like what actually happened, if it was an accident they did. Like there's so many different stories of what might happen, but unfortunately she still hasn't been found.
And then like there's like so many psychics that say like no, she's alive in this country, and then loads of psychics are like no, she's not alive anymore. So but a lot of like suspicion was the parents killed her, because apparently didn't they give them like something to like make them sleep?
That's what. Yeah, there's like loads of stuff that came out that like, because weren't they doctors, the parents, or one of them was a doctor and then one of the friends was also a doctor. They like were highly educated people.
Yeah.
And they'd get, I think it was either one of their friends were doctors or they were also a doctor. Like one of them was. And they'd given them like some sort of medication to help them sleep so they didn't wake up and no one was there. But
what stupid.
Yeah, there's just there was loads of different things, and like I feel like there's been no proper leads of where she was or what had actually happened to her. Yeah. Like there's been no solid lead.
What I just don't get, right, and maybe it's just because like I'm an outsider looking in.
I'm not talking to you, oh my god.
It's alright, my birds are gone up.
Oh, are they? Oh,
yeah. Maybe I'm because I'm an outsider like looking in, but who in their right mind would leave their kids in a hotel room and fuck off down to a bar or a restaurant? No matter where you were. I don't even do that with Trent.
But do you think
I literally don't even do that with my dog.
Do you think that might have been like a normal thing until that happened?
I don't think so, because I don't think I know my parents would never do it. Never ever in a million years. Like we barely leave the dogs at home on their own for long. Like I don't leave Trent at home. Like I've had Amy babysit if I was heading out. Like if I knew I'd be that long. Like it's like, where was the common sense between 4 adults? If anything, imagine that child woke up and started choking. Half an hour, every like half an hour, checking on your child isn't going to help.
Like what actually happened. Like you could literally check every 15 minutes and something could still happen, because that literally happened to her. Yeah. And I'm like, is it worth it that they all wanted to quit? Because wasn't it something like they were obviously rotating kind of?
Yeah, they were like going
and then one night they were like, oh, let's all go out. I'm like, is it really worth it? Like what?
Why go on a holiday?
Yeah,
like
if I'd have more respect for people whose kids are asleep in the pram beside them and they want to go out, because you do want to enjoy your holiday as well.
Why not hire a babysitter?
Yeah,
like there is places like in villa resorts, like like even in hotels you can say true, like have you got like I think Disney do it. They have you can hire babysitters like within the complex, like because the adults would go down to say Disney Village in the evening, like. Because it's bars in the evening, you can't have kids in the bars, so they'd be like, oh, can we hire like whatever the resort babysitter is like for the night? There is things you can do. If you can't do it, like that's just me. I'd never leave me kid at home or in a hotel room or anywhere without an adult present,
especially like somewhere strange like that. Like
and to be honest, I think not even like, I think obviously if the parents didn't do it, they're obviously thinking like, why did we be so fucking stupid?
Yeah,
because no one would like if you.
Do you think they did it? I'm so like I don't I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I'm like you. I don't know. It's like, but it was the reactions after.
Yeah.
It was like numbness, and that's fine. Like you have to losing your kid. You want to stay positive. You have another 2 kids. You have to focus on it. Like I get that, but it just doesn't.
There's loads of little things that like happened after it, like that you just. I can't even remember them all, but like if you genuinely don't know anything about it, like you literally just have to type her name to get an article to come up. There's a documentary on Netflix now. I think it came out last year, didn't it?
Yeah, I actually didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
I think if you lived in Europe,
you knew everything more or less.
But like everyone has tried. Like they've had fucking like. Excuse me. They've had like private detectives and all doing this. Like there's
a million pound reward.
Where it wasn't like the government like funding this or something, and they stopped funding.
Do you know what? Then there was like loads of conspiracy theories about it. Like I know me heads in conspiracy theories because we literally like just done an episode on it. But then there was like loads of conspiracy theories on it. Like I can't remember exactly what they were, but they're like, why is this like so famous? Why do we know about this? Why so many years is this not closed? Millions of kids go missing like every day, unfortunately, and we have no idea about it. But yeah, every time the attention goes off that, something comes back, which I don't know.
Do you know what it is? Why it got so much attention? Of the fucking stupidity of leaving your kids alone in a hotel in a foreign country.
Yeah.
How did there was no sign of a break-in?
That was the thing, yeah. Wasn't there blood and stuff behind like the chair or the bed, or there was blood in the room or something like that?
But then they were saying like maybe that wasn't an intruder that done that. Maybe it was one of the parents.
Yeah,
because maybe they gave her the medicine. She had a reaction. She started coughing up blood or something.
Yeah, that's what there was. A lot of things that like they like covered it up because they done something stupid, like gave their kids that like medicine or stuff. Then there was conspiracies that they sold her off for like
then
sex
I'm like,
and then, like
if they really thought the parents would do it, they would have video footage from like the restaurant, like seeing the interviews, because you really get rid of a kid's body within 30 minutes.
But wasn't that the thing though? Wasn't there like a security camera, but you couldn't see Anne really?
I don't know.
I feel like I remember seeing something like that. So I think there was a car that they noticed drove up like say 3 times or something, but the angles of the resort, like it was like say down at the pool, at all the downstairs that you couldn't really see because it was so dark and stuff. But yeah, I remember actually being in Turkey. Now this was years later, but I feel like people are always on guard because of that. You always have her in your mind when you go away. But I remember being in Turkey, me auntie used to own an apartment, so we used to go over all the time, and I used to kind of see like the same people there that were like friends.
Yeah.
And I remember we were walking to the shop one of the nights. Now it was dark, but we were like 12 and 13 or something like that. We were walking to the shop. It was just at the corner, and this car came by and like slowed right down at us. But the people who like ran like the bar in there that were Turkish, like we knew them real well, and he like ran out because like the car, like I remember it was so creepy. But we kind of didn't really think at it at the time. But then looking back, I'm like, oh my god, imagine if there was no one in the bar, because we were just walking down to the shop and he ran out and he was like, get back in. And the car like sped off then, and then like 3 of them came out from, like his brothers came out from the bar, and they were like, what's the red? Like it was like this white car. They were like, we've seen that around here a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh my
god.
Because
it's like the apartment buildings were like two buildings. They weren't huge, like, but they were big enough. And then it was like the pool and the bar, and there was like a fence with like little bushes around it. But then that was literally just a road, like.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the last apartments before it was just like all I don't want to say like almost like deserts and then up to the mountains, like. So that was like one of the last big buildings before it was just nothing. So they were like, we've seen that car a couple of times and it just creeps by, and I was like, oh my god, that's freaky.
That is really creepy.
Yeah, isn't it?
But wherever she is, whether she's dead or alive, I hope she's at peace.
Yeah.
If she's dead, and if she's alive, I hope she like gets found and brought back.
I'd
like,
love if one day she was found.
Because she won't remember what happens.
No, like if it's a thing that she was thinking, I hope it was nothing. I know obviously it's not nice to be taken away from your family or whatever, but you do hear like some of these stories that people who can't have kids, and like there's people who like sell kids, and obviously it's terrible, but you hope that she had somewhat of at least a good life, and it wasn't like sex trafficking or
locked up
slaves or locked up or whatever. But
God love her, like it's a kid,
it's
like
sad.
how are people that sick?
I know, I don't get it.
Like,
but
do you know what happened there though? Adults failed her. Adults failed her. If someone took her, failed her. Parents leaving her there, failed her. She was just
it was
failed.
their responsibility, and they should feel whatever guilt they should feel, because there's no going back. You know what? I feel sorry for the 2 younger kids that have had probably like no real life, because growing up they're going to be known as her brothers.
Madeleine McCann's brothers.
And then
But you know what? Like if the parents didn't do it, then I am heartbroken for them, because they have to live with the stupid mistake. And we're at the end of the day, like I said, like adults failed them, but like at the end of the day, we're all human. Like we all make stupid mistakes. Like I'm not an adult, so
I'm not an adult.
I'm not an adult. I'm not like a parent, so I don't know what's like. So yeah, like if deep down I hope our parents didn't do it, but then again I'm like, is it sick to say like I kind of hope our parents did it, because then I hope she wasn't like tortured.
I get that
like,
it was the accident
like,
and they freaked out, and
like at least she was asleep or so. Like whatever happened to her, I just hope she didn't feel anything, any pain or anything like that.
No.
Because that's just you don't even want to think about that. Like, but anyway, it's an unsolved mystery. Do you think we'll ever know?
I was only thinking about this. There has been, like, I remember some cases where someone's on the news that they've been found after like 20 years, and I'm like, is that actually going to happen, Madeleine McCann? That in 20 years,
like some of them
she
like
escaped.
escapes. Yeah. A few girls. That's happened to a few girls. Really, yeah. Getting out.
I hope I'm alive.
And you know
that
what?
Kind of selfish,
wasn't it
I'd
like
love to know.
one of the girls? Like, this is only like a few years ago. He had like
I
3
think
of them
I remember
captured.
the same. Yeah, and they were like in his basement or something.
No, they were upstairs in the house, like,
Oh.
but they were all in separate. Like, I think they were pretty much in like separate rooms, and they were like chained like around the ankles.
Oh, geez.
But I think one of the girls got out of the chains, and he went out or something, and she was like, "Oh, this is it now." Like after years and years, like she's like, "This is the time I can try get this out," because I think she had a kid from.
Oh yeah.
And she couldn't get the door open. She could only get it open like a little bit, or something like that, or through the glass or something. But a neighbour across the way who was on his porch,
oh my god, yeah,
happened to see, and she was like screaming like, "Call 911! Like get us out!" And she was like, "My name is Amanda Knox."
Yeah.
Oh jeez, my brain just went open an archive.
Yeah.
Amanda Knox, and if it wasn't for him helping her get out, like because she couldn't get through the front door.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then obviously he rang the police. Well, he got her out, and then she was like freaking out.
Wasn't
And she's like,
there-
there's another two women, like.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for her just being like, fuck this is my chance now after years
I
and
have
years.
to go. Jesus.
I think it was, I want to say Joseph Fritz, but then I think it was your man Castro.
Oh, I have no idea.
Something Castro, because I'm pretty sure he was like friends. It was his daughter's friends. He was kidnapping or something like that. One of them was, I think Amanda Knox was like friends with his daughter. So it was something. It was one of them. I'm getting probably the two people mixed up, but at least they're all alive and well.
Yeah. Hopefully we
but imagine
find
having
out
a kid for your kidnapper.
Stop. I'm sure that happens to a lot of people.
Like
you hear a lot of things about
like
that.
Imagine, like, my god.
Yeah. But
you'd be sleeping with one eye open around the kids. Have you got your dad's jeans? Like, I hope I can raise you to be like me, like, because you're living in a fucked up situation. You're living as a captive, like.
Yeah, that is shy. But we'll move on to our little list. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You go first if you have one there.
Yeah. So, who is and where is DB Cooper?
I do not know anything about DB Cooper, so I'm excited to hear
this. I was actually so fascinated that you didn't know about this. But right, so here we go. This unsolved mystery happened on November 24th, 1971. Dan Cooper was a passenger on Northwest Airlines flight 305 from Portland to Seattle, a 30-minute flight. He was described by passengers and flight attendants as a man in his mid-40s wearing a dark suit, black tie with a mother-of-pearl tie clip and a neatly pressed white-collared shirt. He took his seat, lit a cigarette, because back then you could smoke on the planes, and politely ordered a bourbon and soda, for which he paid cash. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to the 23-year-old flight attendant, who ignored it, assuming he'd just asked for our number. He goes, "Miss, you'd better take a look at that note." Dan Cooper told her, "I have a bomb." The note's exact wording is part of the mystery, since Cooper reclaimed that after the flight attendant read it, but he deemed its demands were $200,000 in American currency, which would today be worth $1 million. Like, so back then, obviously inflation, whatever.
Wow.
He also demanded 4 parachutes and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane on arrival. The flight attendant brought the demands to the captain. The airline's president authorized full cooperation, and other passengers had no idea what was happening, having been told that landing was delayed due to the mechanical difficulties. So they flew around Seattle for a while before actually landing. At 5:39 p.m, the plane landed. An airline employee delivered the cash filled in a knapsack and parachutes, and Cooper allowed all passengers except 2 flight attendants to leave the plane. During refueling, Cooper outlined his plan to the crew: a southeasterly course towards Mexico, one further refueling in Nevada, Vegas. 2 hours later, the plane took off. When it landed in Reno, Cooper's absence was noted. Cooper, who had been mistakenly referred to as DB Cooper, was never seen or heard from again. No parachute was found, and the ransom money was never used.
How did he know it was never used?
Because it would have serial, like, the codes on it, like the numbers on it. So it says, so basically,
what was the point?
So basically, what had happened was, So his name isn't actually DB Cooper. I can't remember exactly what it was, and this doesn't say, but someone on the news mistakenly said DB Cooper when they were reporting it. Right. And it just stuck, and everyone was calling him DB Cooper. So afterwards there was loads of theories that he wasn't, or that he might have been in the army and loads of stuff like this, because he asked for a parachute and he had requested the back of the plane to be open, and the pilot said that can't happen, we can't have it open, like everything will fly out, like it's dangerous,
you get sucked out,
because he wanted it at a certain level. So he basically said to the flight attendant, right, okay, like whatever, but he went and did it himself. He opened it and just jumped out, and they didn't actually cop until they landed, because they were circling for ages when he wanted to refuel again in Nevada. They're assuming he knew they'd have like stuff there on standby, and he was never actually going to make it to Mexico.
Right.
But yeah, so it's never been found. The money's never been found. Nothing. Like, no one knows who he was or what he was or why he did it. Whether it was like not random, but like whether he died on the way down, like what happened.
What?
I haven't even ever heard this, but yeah,
that is like the wildest dream.
There's like movies and stuff on it and all.
I really want to watch them.
Yeah, and this isn't really maybe a spoiler for Loki if you haven't watched it. There's like they pretended slightly that he was DB Cooper in it at one point, because you know the way it's all about like the timeline, and obviously they're like 1,000 years old, so him and Thor used to play pranks and come to Earth, so they did that, and the whole thing was they had a scene where he was pretending to be DB Cooper for like a few seconds, and he just shoots back up to Asgard, so that's the whole thing why nobody know who it is. But yeah, there's been loads of things that like people pretended to be him and all, like just obviously for the fame. You know the way some weird people do that. But
that is mad.
Yeah, but there's an extra little bit here that says like in 1980, so this is like a few years later, a young boy on vacation with his family in Oregon found several packages of ransom money identifiable by serial numbers, leading to an intense search of the area for Cooper or his remains. Nothing was ever found, and for a time it was speculated that the fictional, his real name is Don Draper, was the man who... Oh no, wait, hold on, wait, what?
It's probably a fake passport he used as well.
Oh, I think that's actually talking about a movie, never mind. But yeah, so they never found like any traces of him. Don't know who he is today. And even in Prison Break, isn't there a reference to him in that the DB Cooper, and that's how they get the money to flee, because your man becomes friends with him in Prison Break? Isn't that actually what that is? I
can't fully remember,
but there is like a reference to him, that like there's films about it and stuff, and it's very interesting.
That is,
but like isn't that mad? Like part of you would think that like, did that even happen, or was it just like a marketing scheme for the airline or something? I don't know. Like how do people just vanish like that?
How did anyone on the plane find out? The back of the plane is...
Well, no, because all the passengers got off when they refueled.
Oh, okay.
So they were flying to Seattle, so they stopped there and refueled. He let everyone off except for 2 flight attendants and the pilot, and he stayed on. And then like there was no passengers on it, so that's why he was saying there's actually like no casualties. So they were assuming that he jumped off before ever going to Vegas, because he was refueling again in Vegas to go to Mexico. So they were saying it was kind of just a ploy, or that they were going to have like police on standby and blah blah blah, stuff like that. Yeah,
that's mad.
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually, I'm actually like,
it's interesting.
It's so interesting. We'll jump into the next one. So the next one is rappers Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. were gunned down 6 months apart. Oh wow, this one's a bit long, but I'll read it a little bit. The music world rocked in the late 1990s when rappers superstar Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. were gunned down about 6 months apart. The killings came at a moment marked by intense rivalry between their competing record labels. Both rappers were the top artists for their record companies. Many said the murders were a sign music feuds had gone too far. Shakur was killed first in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on September 13th, 1996. At the time, the 25-year-old superstar's Death Row record label had been feuding with its competitor Bad Boy. 6 months later, Bad Boy's Christopher Wallace, better known as Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls or Biggie, was killed in a similar fashion. The rapper was fatally shot in a drive-by as he was leaving a music industry party in Los Angeles. The two superstars had been friends when both were signed under Bad Boy, according to the FBI, which investigated Biggie's murder but closed the case in 2005. The pals grew distant after Tupac landed in jail over convictions that included rape, and Biggie rose in popularity. Tupac later switched over to death row.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, I have to read that, so I was like, no. It's unclear whether the rivalry played a role in either killing. Both cases stumped police, in part because uncooperative witnesses. The murder mysteries amassed their own collection of theories, including an unproven one that claims both rappers are still alive and faked their own deaths. Family and friends of the megastars are still mourning. In March, on the 20th anniversary of Biggie's death, Sean Diddy Combs paid tribute to his late friends in an Instagram video. On this day, quotation marks, "On this day, we're going to reflect on him because we miss him," he said. And 20 years later, time heals all wounds, but this one ain't healed yet. Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, because like no one has ever been arrested for either shooting, and it's all just been speculation on whether either party shot the other, whether it was unrelated, or whether they're actually really dead. Yeah, like because there's theories that both camps, like P Diddy ordered it on his side, and is it Suge Knight that was like Tupac's Biggie or Tupac's version
like
of
manager?
Yeah, so there's like theories that both of their own shot them, both of their own ordered it on each other, and it just.
Do you know? I think of it. A lot of it was media fueled as well.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
because they were friends.
They were friends, and then obviously Biggie kind of separated when Tupac went to jail for like rape and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want to be associated through someone who is getting locked up for rape. So, but then when Biggie started getting bigger, it was a thing of well, like obviously was Tupac jealous because
there was like a lot.
And then they also like the media did a lot of East Coast, West Coast,
like still to today. That's still like a
still
thing.
Like a big thing. So. I don't know, it's just sad. Like,
yeah, because like the whole marketing of that though, of the feud as well, would have done really well for the record label. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it was a big thing, made them both really popular and all. But yeah,
like, do you think Biggie organised a shot Tupac?
I don't think so. I feel like I know I don't know them, but I just feel like they maybe didn't care that like.
Because I just don't think Biggie would have been like, you know what, just fucking shoot him. Like, it's all over the like media. Just shoot him.
Yeah, like
shoot him in my recording studio, because that won't make it look like it's me.
Yeah, but that's not where he died.
No, but he was shot.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's when Tupac was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what. Like, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because they were both. Well, actually, I don't know if Biggie was, but. Like Tupac, like they were involved in like gangs and other stuff that were like.
I know Tupac was. I think like everyone kind of knows Tupac was, but like it's so media. And then when they start releasing songs, like Biggie had the song "Who Shot You," and they were like, "Don't sing that song." He was like, "But this song was this was already like before."
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, it was before Tupac was shot. He was like, "This is like an old song." Then Tupac brought out the song about Biggie's wife saying like he basically slept with her and. Like they were playing
things.
They were like diss tracks.
Yeah, diss track season in the 90s. Jesus.
But I think it was a very much the media did not help the feud at all.
Do you think either of them like would ever admit if they did, like if Suge Knight or like
Suge Knight has come out and said he arranged them?
Did he?
Yeah. Well, he's already locked up, but like people are like, you're bullshit and you just want to be in the fucking
like, that's the thing, you never know.
Would I put it past him? Absolutely not. Like if that, and he'd be like, he was Tupac's manager, but then again, do you want your own artist getting injured?
But the thing is, he's his manager. He still has like he'd own all that music, so he'd get all the royalties, whatever. And maybe it wasn't intentional for him to die if that was the case.
I personally don't think Biggie organised for Tupac to get shot. No. Do you think Tupac organised for Biggie to get shot?
Well, no, because he was dead.
But do you think it was like retaliation from the?
I think it might have been a retaliation because the fact that it happened when he was there.
Like they knew the time, they knew the place, they knew what car he was in. They kind of knew.
I think it was a revenge thing, definitely. Yeah. Because that would have happened in their like rivalry gangs, anyways. Like so, yeah, I do think so.
But like, let's put it this way, it wouldn't matter. People were saying like, oh, well, if he didn't go to LA for that party,
it would have happened eventually.
It would have happened eventually. Like you can't like stay away from one side of the country. No. You're like promoting your album in, like, do you know what I mean?
No, I think it would have happened eventually.
Isn't Biggie's song, like, his last album before he died, like, the album he was basically promoting at the party was, like, wasn't it, like, Life After Death? Or ready to die, or not afraid of death, or so. It was something to do with death and life, which was so coincidental because
he died.
He walked out of that party and he died. Like, well, he was dying. He died. Like,
he actually go to the party. I'm trying to think of the film.
Yeah, he went to the party. He did. And then he was like calling like his man, and he was calling like his baby mama, saying like, "Can you bring the kids out here?" And, like, come on, mom, take the kids. There's a scene in
the movie, I think, when he walks out the shop and they make it look like it's gonna happen there. That's what I was thinking of. But
when he gets the tattoo.
Yeah.
Because he get a call saying like, "Get out of LA, fucker."
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, no, it's actually not there that it happens.
And then little C's is like, "Who you talking to, motherfucker?"
Do you know, I always thought that was meant to be 50 Cent.
Little Caesar was supposed to be 50 Cent.
That was 50 Cent's name before he changed it to 50
Cent. Pissing himself laughing.
No, but listen to me. So that was 50 Cent's name before he changed it to 50 Cent, and it's the same actor that plays young 50 Cent in Get Rich or Die Trying. So when I was younger, I just assumed, I was like, I always meant to look it up, and then one day I actually did look up, and I was like, oh, it's not. But literally, like, 50 Cent's name was young Caesar or little Caesar before he
10 cents
before he changed it to 50 Cent, and it was the same actor.
That's
so I thought, they did something clever there and had him in that movie, and then
like, I loved the film Notorious.
Yeah, I loved the film Get Rich or Die Trying as well. I've watched it about a million times. I don't know why I like it so much. It's so good.
I think it's when you're younger and you watch a film so much, it's just a film that's good.
Yeah,
like, but like I remember, like I watched like Notorious, like
I've
religiously,
well.
Like,
so
unreal.
But
then it reminds me of Conor McGregor. Now because he comes out and he's like, no, Notorious. Nice boat though. That's a nice boat.
But the next one is what really happened to young Walter Collins.
You're saying ones like I don't know anything about, so I love this.
Well, I've seen a movie based on this, so when I seen it on the list, I was like, oh my god, I need to read this out because I had a feeling you wouldn't know it. But in 2008, Clint Eastwood's film Challenging reawakened interest in one of the most bizarre and tragic crime stories of the 1920s. Single mom Christine Collins reported her 9-year-old son Walter missing in March 1928.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I've only seen parts of the film. I remember it was on the telly.
I watched it when I was really young and I didn't really understand.
That's not my son.
Yeah. It's actually a really good film. I must rewatch it. So yes, she reported him missing in Los Angeles. 5 months later, the police brought Walter back to Christine, except it wasn't Walter, and Christine knew it. But the LA police dismissed Christine's concerns. Are you okay?
Push the fucking table.
She's out there like banging her hand off the table.
Oopsie.
But the LA police dismissed Christine's concerns, going so far as to accuse her of terrible mothering and having her committed to a mental health hospital. The real Walter Collins was never found, and over time, authorities came to believe that he was one of the victims of convicted child murderer Gordon Stewart Norcott. Well, I don't know what his second name, how to pronounce that. Although what is that, Northcott?
Northcott's,
yeah. So although Norcott's mother offered confessions for killing Walter, whatever happened to Walter Collins, his body was never found, and no one ever learned what really happened, nor has it been established with any certainty why the police were so invested in covering up the boy's disappearance, as they brought a different child back to Christine and tried to convince her and the rest of the world that was Walter.
So whose son was that they gave back?
Someone else. We don't know. They literally refused to. I know. I think in the movie they might have returned
fucking Pizzagate.
Literally, I think in the movie they might have returned that and like tied up the ending a little bit.
Like, oh, sorry, son, that's not your parent. Even though we told you.
Really long. Like, it's so good. But I know in the movie they ended it. I think obviously they based it off the murder idea that they had, but it was that a kid had escaped near the very. I'm probably spoiling the movie, but it's like over 15 years old anyways.
Yeah.
A kid had escaped basically from this murderer's ranch or farm, wherever he was, and he came back and he told them I was like, we were there together, I escaped, like, he is dead. They said that that was in the movie. That obviously wasn't part of the
and she was like, I don't believe you.
No, that was the very end, and so then she got her closure. She's like, I knew it wasn't him, because the kid obviously like told them, and they found the murder and everything like that. So it like went along the story that they think had happened, that it was that Northcott. So they put that into the movie, but they had like it tied up at the end of the movie, like the end of the film. Yeah. But it's actually a really good film. It's called Challenge, and you should watch it. But
Changeling, isn't it?
Isn't that Challenging? Changeling? What's it? Oh yeah, I could actually never remember the name of the film.
I haven't even fucking seen the film.
Changeling. Jesus, that's such a stupid name.
That's mad.
But that isn't that crazy.
But hold on, that's not really an unsolved mystery.
Well, it is, because they don't know that. They just assumed that was him. And the mystery is, why did the police want her to believe that was her son, and why were they so determined that, like, they put her into a mental hospital and took the second child off her, because they were saying like she's a bad mother, that she doesn't want her son and all this stuff.
You thought she just
and put her like literally in a loony
because
hospital.
you know, showed them a photo being like, here, they're not same.
Yeah, but like obviously they probably maybe looked similar.
Yeah, plus you have to think photography.
And like back then it was like the 1920s, so like women, like they didn't, I don't think they really
women
could. And I don't think
women
she
back then would have been
well,
classed
like,
as
things like that.
Yeah, and plus she probably had the children at wedlock.
Yeah, that's
so they would have been like, children at wedlock.
Yeah, really, like, isn't that mental though? Like, imagine that happening. Yeah, like you think your son's actually coming home. Imagine your son being gone for however many months, 5 months, 6 months, and then the police be like, we found your son, we bring him back, and then you're like, who the fuck is that? Son. Isn't that mad?
I don't know what would be worse. Them trying to convince me that a boy wasn't me son, or me son coming home in a body bag.
I think you'd have some closure, unfortunately, if your son died, because she still doesn't fully know what happened.
Like, there's me son, that's what happened. But put me in a mental home and tell me that's someone that's not my fucking son. Like, it came out of my vagina. I think I could tell you if it's my son or not.
Came out my womb.
You want to see my vagina now?
I got the stitches.
Right, well, I think we better actually wrap this up. I think we'll do one more.
Yeah, okay.
And this one is Jean-Benet Ramsey.
Yeah, this is a very famous one.
This is
There's
really
movies, documentaries.
This is a long one, so buckle up. If you have a drink, get a drink. Listen up. Right, so make sure my mic is right. Jean-Benet Ramsey's young, smiling face stared out from newspaper front pages and television screens all across the country in the months after the 6-year-old beauty queen was found dead in the basement of her family's Colorado home. The crime stunned the quiet neighborhood in Boulder, Colorado.
That's a nice Boulder.
Colorado. Okay, so they cut the word fucking short. C-O-L-O. They couldn't put Colorado. Jeez. Anywho. Jean-Benet, a beauty pageant winner, had been discovered beaten and strangled with duct tape placed on her mouth and throat on the day after Christmas in 1996. This was already disturbing enough to draw national attention, but Jean-Benet's own family quickly fell under scrutiny, and many who had followed the story began to speculate on whether her parents were somehow involved. Jean-Benet's mother, Patricia, told police she woke up early that morning to find her daughter missing. She called 911 to report a kidnapping, saying she found a nearly 3-page ransom note demanding $118,000 hours later. Jean-Benet's father, John, told police he discovered his daughter's body in the basement. An autopsy determined that Jean-Benet died of I don't know how to say this word. Asphyxiation. We can't read.
I don't know.
Asphyxiation caused by strangulation. According to the Denver Post, her death was ruled a homicide. The Ramseys immediately fell under a cloud of suspicion, but no one was ever charged in connection with Jean-Benet's death. Her parents addressed the speculation in the first time during an interview with CNN in January. John Ramsey said the suggestion that his family was behind the crime was nauseating beyond belief. According to the Post, I did not kill my daughter, he told reporters again in May. 20 years later, Boulder police said the investigation is still open, although officials declined to comment on the case. Our goal continues to be an arrest and successful Why can't I read? Successful prosecution. Boulder Police Chief Greg Testa said last fall, "We have not and will not give up." The recent 20th anniversary of JonBenét's death was met with a wave of major network specials and new documentaries that exploded potential suspects. JonBenét's brother Burke Ramsey also spoke out for the first time. The 29-year-old said on Dr. Phil, I actually seen this, that he burst into tears when he found out his sister was dead. "My dad told me JonBenet is in heaven now, and he started crying. Then I started crying," Burke Ramsey said. "I was kind of like, how is this possible? I started crying. I don't think I said anything. I didn't believe it at first."
There's
big thing with that whole case is a lot of people suspect the brother.
I was literally just about to say that he was literally like a suspect for her because apparently he had a really short temper, especially with her. Because obviously she'd get the speculation because she'd get so much attention. Like she was the golden child. She was bringing in money. She was a pageant queen or like child star, whatever. So like there is a big thing there with him. But I 100% think it was within the family. There's so much stuff that apparently the ransom though obviously it didn't
but wasn't there something to do with the father's job? That like there's so many theories. There's just so many theories.
I can't fully remember everything that happened.
But I thought they searched the house and there was no body in the basement, and then the dad went down like and found the body.
That's what there was so.
But how does a kid drag a body and move a body? That's what I want to know. Because he didn't play in the basement.
Yeah, but the thing was that like if the kid did it, the family covered it up. Like the parents covered it up because they'd lose both kids. So there was like apparently. I think it wasn't until like the police got there or just before the police got there then they found her. And it's like if your child's missing, do you not check your whole house? Then there was apparently the ransom note was like extremely detailed. Like like people who analyze stuff like this have said like that's such a random figure. Who wants that exact amount? Oh, and with his job, this is what it was. His bonus that Christmas was that exact amount. The father's Christmas bonus was something like that, or as whatever it was, that's what it was with the job, was like the exact amount they asked for on the Do
you think it could have been like a family friend or something that knew all the information?
I don't know.
Or someone who had like, you know the way like like everyone had, like your neighbours or friend have like a spare key to your house. You know, like if you go on holidays, like
the parents or the brother. Like that's one of the one things that I think the evidence is way too much, because it was like.
But like, is it not a bit obvious?
Yeah.
Is it that obvious that like, is it just I think really bad at doing crime, or
but
that obvious that like a criminal who wants to think the family did it would do it that way? Is it a mastermind who's kind of that good in thinking? I've watched way too much Forensic Files.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be something really like that. But then it's like, if you have so many analysis looking at stuff like the way the family spoke, the way the ransom letter was wrote,
you are more mournful than the McCanns.
Yeah, but there was something that I watched or I read, and it was like the ransom note was like so detailed, like it was going on way too much. Like it was nearly like a full page of stuff.
I think they said 3 pages.
Yeah, it was like really long and so much detail. And like when they were talking about JonBenet, like they were like very descriptive and everything, and it was just, they said it was really off, and it looked like it was a lot of time was spent on it. Whereas if a killer had wrote a no, it'd be really rushed.
Hold on, that one just clicked with me. Why would you leave a ransom note to get your daughter back alive, but kill her in any way? You're never going to get me money then.
That was the thing. It was like it didn't make sense. They left a ransom note, but then didn't take the body with them. Like even if they did kill her, why was she left in the home to be found? Because then you're just looking for a murderer and you're never going to get any money. Like these were all the things that were like, it made no sense. Why was there a ransom note? The ransom note doesn't even make sense.
Like I think there is a lot more to that story. Either to do with the dad's job and financials, and he was probably in debt or something, and like we don't know what especially like people, when they want to hide something they can hide it, but then it always comes back to haunt them. So we don't know. That dad's never gonna admit. Why would he admit it when his daughter's dead? Like admitting anything is not going to bring her back. So if he was in extreme debt or in drugs or any kind of thing he was in, why would he admit it now? Or even the ma, or if the brother did do it, like...
But that's the thing what makes me think...
I'd like to think the parents didn't do it. Or the brother.
I know, but I think that's the only... Because even if the dad was in debt or whatever and someone come in and murdered his daughter, you would say it though, right? Like, what have you got to lose? Yet you're in debt, but you're still going to be in debt and now you've no daughter. Like,
I think if he's not saying it, it's probably a threat against his other son or the rest of it. Like, if you open your mouth, we'll take all of you out.
Yeah. I don't know. I
think there really has to be so much more than a random ransom. No, but, we're gonna just kill her anyway. But you're like, why? That's
what I'm saying. That's what doesn't make sense.
Why would I pay it to?
And she's like there, like I know where she is.
Do you know what I mean? Or that's it's just like I don't know if it's purposely completely fucked up to like throw people off altogether. Like you're never gonna figure. How could you ever figure that out? Not even bleeding Sherlock Holmes or Columbo could figure that out.
But it's like, how did they not, like, if everything points to the parents, is there, like, there's so much of that points to the parents, but then how is there not enough evidence to actually convict them?
Because what I'm saying is, like,
I suppose it's all
was there no, like, fingerprint? Was there no DNA found? Well, obviously,
I don't know, because I actually don't know
the only thing that could probably rule the parents out in that case because they live together. There will be fingerprints on her.
Their stuff's going to be all over the house, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So how do you...
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's a bit when you read it, it's like, oh my god, the parents definitely done that.
Yeah.
But then again, if it's that blatantly obvious, why has nothing been done? Like is it that blatantly obvious to be like that family done it?
Yeah.
By a really clever criminal that can pin it on someone else. You see it all the time, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's too stupid. Like if you killed your daughter, it's too blatantly obvious you've done it. Like,
but in their heads, in the panic and the adrenaline, they're also not criminal masterminds, so they are gonna fuck.
But when you think about it, they took their time because the mom made the call to report the daughter missing. She could have taken another hour. She could have taken another 2 hours.
Yeah.
She could have taken an extra day.
Yeah.
Do you know, like,
and none of it makes sense.
It's just too
like, you never know.
It's like, because she was found in the house, it's like, how?
Yeah. Like, and how do you not hear her during the night? How do you not hear her scream?
I think it was a pretty big house though.
Yeah, but you'd still hear
because they were chiching, like they had money.
Yeah, but I don't think it was like...
Well, there was tape over her mouth, so you wouldn't have heard her. Like she was strangled to death and beaten.
Yeah, but like was she taken from her bedroom?
I think like, I actually think before I read there was a gash on her head, so I think they might have like either smacked her head off because the basement is concrete. I remember reading that the basement is concrete, so they either smacked her head off. But I think the thing was there was no blood on the basement floor for her to have the gash in the back of her head.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many
there's just so many different
that case that it's like,
can you just give me the files?
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, there were a few good now. Mind bogglers.
Yeah, some new ones that you didn't know about, and probably a lot of people don't really know about. Like,
but they're very interesting if you want to look them up. Like I know there's YouTube videos and probably all of them.
Yeah,
and like documentaries and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here before we.
Yeah, because we just keep going on and talking about these
on and all about the possibilities.
But, like we said, you have probably seen the conspiracy theory episode. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. But if you wanted us to do like more of this kind of crime stuff, because we're both interested in it,
very interested in it. I'm actually surprised how interested you are.
Let us know if you want us to do more stuff like this, or if there's a certain case, certain conspiracy, whatever it is you want us to talk about, let us know. And let us know down below what you actually think. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, if you're audio listeners, I'm assuming you follow us on Instagram. If not, go over and follow us on Instagram at the Weird Girls Club, and give us a message if you liked this. We will have probably polls about it anyway, but send us a message if you like any particular that we can dive more into, or what you think actually happened, or you know more information if we said something wrong. We are literally, again, this wasn't our own research, this was just Google stuff that we read off random like, what was it was unsolved mystery pages. So it's not our words at all. But so like that, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit the belly thing. She came out to me earlier for not letting her say it. You said it the last few times. I was like, I haven't said it in ages. If you're on the audio, Spotify, Apple, please follow, leave a review if you can, and of course follow our Instagram at the Weird Girls Club to know when we post. Have a good. That's it. Bye.